Oh my god, not only do I have to worry about Glocks firing uncommanded like the SIG P320, now I also have to worry about Glocks going kaboom, because that's the thing. Yes, when you're shooting it just blows up, or you can just throw it like a hand grenade. That was actually a meme a while back. Kabooms and Glocks. Well, I'll cover all of that in this video. What is the reality? What's the truth? What happened? Why is it that this was even a thing online? And what should you know about Glocks in general, and how dangerous or not they happen to be? Guys, as always, before I forget, remember that if you want to learn more about realistic survival and preparedness, about self-defense, about the kind of things that you learn in firearms classes, those that you probably did not take, well, I cover quite a bit of that in Street Survival Skills, lessons learned over the years in different classes with different instructors, actually in different parts of the world. Also very cool having that experience. That's what you get in Street Survival Skills. And Surviving the Economic Collapse, that's based on my experience of going through just that in Argentina. A ton of valuable information that I share with you guys through my books in Amazon, in the links there below. And part of what I try to do here is educate people about the myths, the reality about these things that you see online. Do Glocks blow up? Well, let me tell you something. Any gun can blow up. If I have this gun and I put a certain amount of black powder in there, yeah. Oh, no, but I'm not talking about that. Well, I am talking about that because I know that you're probably thinking of something you saw online. And just because you saw a picture online does not make it true. The picture may be fabricated. The accident may be fabricated as well. I mean, these days it may be even AI. But even before that, you just don't know. You're just assuming things because you saw a picture and someone said something below. How much of that is true? You just don't know. No. I'm talking about I'm just shooting and the thing blew up. All right. It could happen. Yes, absolutely. With the wrong reloads, any gun, including the Glock, can blow up. No. But I'm talking about blowing up with factory ammunition. And I'll say the same thing yet again. Yes, any gun can blow up even with factory ammunition in the extremely rare case that ammunition was made incorrectly. It is extremely rare, but still within the realm of possibility. These days you have tremendously high standards of manufacturing, especially in ammunition, and it's going to be tremendously very, very rare to have factory ammunition cause that type of catastrophic malfunction, which is the technical term for something blowing up is catastrophic. It just blew up a chunk of the chamber, right? It is extremely rare. In general, with a Glock or any gun, what you see is people that messed up the reload, they messed up the powder, they messed up the amount of powder, they messed up the crimping, whatever it is they messed up, it is usually in 99% of the cases, if not more, it is because a bad reload. So it ended up happening that back in the day when Glocks were everywhere, and Glock 22 and 40 was becoming more and more popular. And it was this thing about the Glock 40 was actually the 10mm, and they shortened it down. So a bunch of people out there started making their own reloads, and sometimes a little bit more hotter and hotter and hotter. And yes, as you would imagine, a bunch of people ended up online complaining about, hey, my Glock blew up. Okay, sir, what did you do with your Glock? And that's where we end up with the unsupported chamber situation. And for those that don't know what I'm talking about, an unsupported chamber is something, well, you have the barrel of your Glock, right? This is the barrel, this is the chamber. And when you put a round in the chamber, if you look closely, there is a little bit of you actually see there. You see that little part, like it's like a fingernail, right just under the shiny part where the case is not completely supported. Well, that's an unsupported chamber, right? It is very minimal. It really makes no difference. This is a Glock Gen 4. Even in the Glock Gen 5, you still have a partially unsupported chamber. And why is that? Well, because it does not matter. If you're using good ammunition or you didn't mess up your reloads, they should be perfectly fine. Oh, but there's even a little bit of wiggle room. Look at those, that control quality. No, that little bit of wiggle is part of the Glock's reliability. That little bit of wiggle, that little bit of ramp which at the end of the day is why you have a little bit of a partially unsupported chamber. That's all so as to make the gun more reliable. It feeds better because of that ramp, and they have perfected it to the point where they know exactly how much of that they need so as to have the desired reliability and still have a safe gun. This is a tremendously safe gun in spite of that little bit of unsupported case that you have there, right? But what happened with the Glock 40, right, is that being a new round, being around, also keep in mind 9mm has far less pressure than the 40. 40 is a high pressure round. So you combine a high pressure round with people doing their own reloads, and yes, it is true, maybe a little bit more noticeable unsupported chamber in the 40. Yes, it would get that 6 o'clock bulge in some cases, or even have a catastrophic failure with some reloads because of that. And again, it is because you did something. If you were, let me make this perfectly clear. If you have an old Glock, right, from back in the day, and you're using factory ammunition in 40, you are tremendously unlikely to have any problem whatsoever. Having said that, it is true, because I did check that out. Over the years, and I'm talking about from the 2000s forward, Glock has been reducing that little bit of unsupported chamber in their 40s a little bit here and there. You would notice as years went by a little bit of tighter, probably looking at a tolerance in which they still had the reliability that they desired, but still having maybe a little bit more metal in there just in case some idiot made a stupid reload and blew something up. Again, there is nothing wrong with any of the Glocks, even back in the KABOOM Glock 4022 days. Keep in mind, those guns were being issued all over the United States for police. Police were going to 40. Every police department in the United States had a Glock in 40. Those Glock 22s, they were all over the place. If this had ever been something true, given the amount of Glock 22s in holsters and being used by officers and shooting and training and all of those, it would have been a scandal if that had been the case, if it had ever been really a thing about, oh, the unsupported chamber makes it unsafe. No. It is not the case. It's just that when you have something blow up because of extremely high pressures in general caused by reloads, it's gonna blow up precisely in that little part there. But as long as you don't mess up, it should be perfectly fine. Is that perfectly clear now? Has it been clarified, this idea? You still have guns. As again, I'm just showing you right now. It is not huge, but there is a little bit of unsupported. A little bit, you see that shiny little nail underneath. It's just a little bit unsupported, but this makes it more reliable. This makes it to load properly, and it's not a risk factor in any shape or form. Guys, I hope I have explained myself here. Have an awesome day. Share the video. Books for learning more about this stuff. Have a great day. Take care.